Okay, it's a great zechus to be here in Dvinsk at the Kever of the Rogachover of Yosef Rosen, the author of the Tzafnas Paneach on the Rambam, Shal Suchuvas Tzafnas Paneach. Not only was he a once-in-a-generation Talmid Chacham, but in many, many generations. Even says on the Kever, Hagoin Ha'admar, Hagoin Ha'amiti, Echad Bedara, not only Echad Bedara, Harbe Doirois Loikam Kamayu. Someone who had such command of the Torah, we never saw in even many generations. It's well known that in all the writings of the Rogachover, which there was a Machon Tzafnas Paneach led by Menachem Kasher, but the Rogachover style of writing he would write ayin here, look there, and you'd have to figure out what is he stringing together in all of these cryptic comments. The reason he wrote that way is because of the tircha. He had so much source material. It was literally humanly impossible to write what it actually said in these places. However, Reb Zevin said that when the Rogachover would give shir, his clarity of expression was so powerful, his clarity was unparalleled, that anyone who heard a shir from the Rogachover would say, that's the only way to understand the Rambam, that's the only way to understand the Gemara. He had the capacity of explanation which was incredible. At age 8 years old, he was completely proficient in the entire Seder Nezikin. So he began his learning career. At 12 years old, his father took him to learn from the Beis Halevi. At the time, Beis Halevi was a Rav in Slutsk. And he learned the Chavrusa with Reb Chaim Brisker. He then went to learn from Rabbi Shua Leib Diskin. Then he visited a descendant of the Baal HaTanya, where he became very close with the Chabad. And he was the Rav of the Hasidim here in Rogachover. Just to show you a few pictures of what the Rogachover looked like, here's one example of what the Rogachover looked like. And then we have another famous picture of the Rogachover. He did not frequent the barber often, and that's because while he would frequent the barber, he would have to remove his yarmulke. He wouldn't be able to learn, so that wasn't worthwhile. That was not a worthwhile endeavor for him to have to remove the yarmulke, because then he wouldn't be able to be involved in Torah. Not only that, but even on Tisha B'Av, the yard site of his father was Tisha B'Av. He was in Dvinsk, but his father came from Rogachover. He was born in Rogachover, so he would go back to his hometown for Tisha B'Av, where the whole city would gather around him in Rogachover, and he would regale them in Divrei Torah the entire day. And even during the Shiva, he would regale the Menachemim in Torah the entire day, and nobody had the audacity to ask, an Avel is also b'Talmud Torah, until his uncle said, this is Avelos, and he said, yeah, but the Yerushalmi says in Moed Katan Parakim Alachahei, Im Hayalohod Achar HaTorah Mutter. If you have an insatiable drive, then it's mutter. If there was anyone in history that we could say was Lohod Achar HaTorah, it was the Rogachover. Now, in his travels from Dvinsk to Rogachover on the wagon, he would learn half of Shas, Baal Peh. They would say, what about the other half? Say, on the way home, he'll learn the other half. So, they would say about the Shagas Aryeh that he learned Shas 1,000 times in his life. But the Rogachover learned Shas every time he traveled home from Dvinsk to Rogachover. We mentioned the Rogachover wrote very, very bekitzer. I'll give you just one little flavor of a chiddush of the Rogachover. The Rambam says that by the city in Ir Hanidachas, we give the Ir Hanidachas an opportunity to do tshuva. So the Ravid asks on the Rambam, okay, it's very nice we give the Ir Hanidachas an opportunity to do tshuva, but there's no makar in Shas that we give the Ir Hanidachas an opportunity to do tshuva. Says the Rogachover, there may be no makar in Shas that we don't give an Ir Hanidachas opportunity to do tshuva. But what was Sodom? Sodom was an Ir Hanidachas. Look in the Targum Unclus by the city of Sodom. Hashem said, Iskali ka'an ve'edu, and I'm going to judge. Hachi keviltahain da'alas likadamai avadu. Then if, in fact, what's reported to me that they did, I will follow through. Ebedim han gemira. Says Targum. The pasuk says, V'im lo ye'eda'a. Targum says, V'im tavin. If they do tshuva, lo yispara, they won't be punished. Where did the Targum get this from? But the Targum reads the pasuk that if Sodom would have done tshuva, they wouldn't have been punished. From here, says the Rogachover, the Rambam derived a halacha from Targum Unclus. That was the command of the Rogachover ala Torah, that he was able to see where the Rambam understood halachos derived from Targum Unclus. So this was the Rogachover, a once in a many generational Baki in Kal HaTorah Kulai, the Chusay Yagin Alena. Okay, I'm going to say